Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today into the world of spiritual seeking.
Always a fascinating topic.
Yeah, with some really cool sources. We've got an Eckhart Tolle video, one on Ramana Maharshi, and even a couple of music videos from Wandern Herzen.
Oh, nice. Those guys are great. I love their music. Very thought-provoking.
Absolutely. And that's what we're aiming for today, to see what wisdom we can glean from all of these sources
Yeah.
about, finding truth and meaning within ourselves. And yeah, as we go, we'll definitely tie in the music from Wander and Dan Herzen because their stuff really aligns with a lot of these themes.
Looking forward to it.
So first up, Sufism. Tolle, talking about that Sufi master in the Jewel of the Nile, that really got me thinking, this guy, he's operating with basically zero ego.
It's pretty striking.
Like watching him is a teaching in itself makes you wonder, what would our lives look like if we could, let go of even a little bit of that ego grip?
Definitely a powerful question to sit with.
Right. And it all ties into this core Sufi teaching, finding paradise within, really being present in the moment. There's this beautiful quote by the Sufi master Al-Darazi, if on earth there be a paradise of bliss, it is this, it is this, it is this.
Simple yet so profound.
Totally. Like that Zen saying, this is it. Both pointing to the same truth, right? The present moment is all we've got and all we need. And actually, one of the Wander and Herzen videos talks about this very thing, letting go of future anxieties and finding truth right now.
I love how they bring these ancient ideas into a modern context.
Me too. It makes it so relatable. Now, there's this concept of remembrance of God in Sufism that I find really interesting.
Yeah.
Tolle emphasizes that it's not about constantly thinking about God in like the traditional way.
Right, more like a background awareness.
Exactly, of that animating presence, that formless life force that's kind of flowing through everything. Not filling your mind with thoughts about God, but just having this continuous awareness of a deeper reality.
Like a subtle hum underlying existence.
Yes. There's this quote from Abu Sa'id that gets it perfectly. The true man of God never forgets God, even for a single moment. But again, it's not about, like, mental gymnastics. It's about tapping into something deeper.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating how this connects to the Sufi idea of waking up from identifying with things, material possessions, thoughts, all that stuff.
We get so caught up in the world of form, we forget about the formless essence that animates it all.
Exactly.
Rumi puts it beautifully. If you want great wealth and that which lasts forever, wake up. Sleep no more. It's a call to awaken to our true nature, the richness beyond the fleeting pleasures of, the material world.
And again, Wander de Herzen touches on this, letting go of what doesn't serve us, stripping away the layers to reveal the truth within.
Yeah, their music just clicks with these teachings. It's amazing. So Tully tells this story about a dog overcoming its fear to reach water. Just a simple act, but it sparked this profound realization for the Sufi master who was watching.
Interesting. What was the realization?
He realized that the dog's fear was all rooted in its self-image. It saw itself as separate from the water. And it's the same for us, right? Our own self-image, fears, limitations, they become barriers to what we're searching for. It's a question worth asking ourselves. What's holding me back?
Big question.
It is. And then there's this other story about a Sufi master who chose to live as a slave, like intentionally, to erode his ego.
Wow, that's intense.
Right. Makes you wonder if there's a risk in trying to force that kind of ego death. Could it become just another attachment?
I see what you mean. Surrender and acceptance seem crucial here. It's not about forcing enlightenment, but letting life unfold and facing challenges with an open heart.
Absolutely. That theme of surrender comes up again in the story of Shibli, the wealthy dude seeking knowledge from the Sufi master Junaid. Junaid tells him to sell sulfur, beg, seek forgiveness, basically stripping him of all his pride and status.
Like a forced humility.
Right. Reminds me of that Indian tradition of renunciation, giving up everything to pursue spiritual liberation.
Yeah, letting go is a common thread in a lot of traditions.
So maybe the challenges we face are actually opportunities for growth. Like Shibli's experience, each obstacle, each setback, a chance to shed another layer of ego and get closer to our true nature.
I like that, turning obstacles into opportunities.
That's the spirit. And this whole idea of letting go of what we think defines us, it really connects with the teachings of Ramana Maharshi. His focus on abiding in the self, it seems to echo that Sufi principle of presence and surrender.
Yeah, there's definitely a parallel there. But what's interesting is Sufism often emphasizes practices and techniques to cultivate presence. Ramana Maharshi, he offered a more direct path to self-realization. Like his own awakening at 16, it was triggered by this intense fear of death. That set him on a whole different course.
Yeah, he didn't follow any specific tradition or seek out a teacher, right? He just turned inward. And from that came his core teaching of self-inquiry, this radical practice of looking for the source of the I thought. And what I find so fascinating is it's not about intellectualizing or debating philosophy. It's about direct experience.
Absolutely. And the beauty of it is, self-inquiry, it cuts through all the dogma and belief systems. It's a path open to anyone, regardless of their background, because it all starts with that one fundamental question. Who am I?
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. You start with the surface stuff, your name, your job, your roles, and you keep asking who is it that knows these things, stripping away the false to get to the true.
And what Ramana pointed to is that true self, it's not something you have to achieve or acquire. It's already there, always present. It's the foundation of all our experiences. He often talked about the heart as the true self.
Not the physical heart, though, right?
Right, not the physical one. It's more like the very core of our being. He described it like this. The heart is the only reality. The mind is only a transient phase. To remain as oneself is to enter the heart. That space of pure awareness where all thoughts and experiences come from. And it's interesting how this kind of mirrors that Sufi idea of remembrance of God, both pointing to that shift in awareness, from the temporary external stuff to the eternal internal.
So when it comes to actually practicing self-inquiry, is it as simple as just repeating the question, who am I?
Ramana was very clear that it's not about mental repetition or, intellectual games. He actually said, self-inquiry is certainly not an empty formula. It is more than the repetition of a sacred syllable. And he also warned against just treating it as a mental question. Like, if the inquiry, who am I, were a mere mental questioning, it would not be of much value. It needs to be a deeper, more persistent inquiry that goes beyond the mind.
So it's not about thinking your way to the answer. It's about using the question to kind of dissolve that illusion of a separate self.
Exactly. Ramana's belief was, we already are the self. There's nothing to attain, he said. The state we call realization is simply being oneself, not knowing anything or becoming anything. It's about recognizing what's already there, not trying to become something else.
That's a pretty profound idea. But isn't that hard for the ego to grasp? Like our whole lives, we're taught that we need to achieve, to become something, to be worthy or complete.
For sure, it's a total shift in perspective. The ego wants to cling to things, define itself through experiences and accomplishments. But Ramana, he's asking us to let go of all those identifications and just be the self.
So what about all the challenges we face in life? Do they get in the way of self-inquiry?
Well, Ramana actually believed that challenges and obstacles, they can strengthen our resolve on the path. He said, it will come all right in the end. Steady determination is what is required. It's about cultivating that unwavering focus, that commitment to uncovering our true nature, even when things get tough.
So the challenges become fuel for the inquiry. They force us to confront the limits of the ego and turn inward for support.
Exactly. And one of Ramana's Western followers, Douglas Harding, he talks about the transformative power of direct experience. Like, it's not enough to just understand intellectually. You have to encounter the truth yourself.
He encourages us to. Go to Ramana Maharishi himself, directly, not even into Tiruvannamala or any form of Maharishi. Return to formlessness, which is your own self. It's a call to go beyond concepts and ideas, to that direct experience of being.
A profound invitation. And what's striking about Ramana is he always insisted he didn't have disciples. He saw everyone as equal, already enlightened.
He didn't see himself as a guru or authority figure then.
Nope. He was just pointing people back to their own inner wisdom. He said it pretty plainly. The person may call himself my disciple or devotee. I do not consider anyone to be my disciple. It's a message of radical equality. That potential for awakening is within everyone.
Even the story of his death is pretty amazing. That meteor appearing at the moment he passed, it's almost symbolic, isn't it?
It's hard not to see the symbolism there. And even in his final days, there was this sense of peace and presence surrounding him. He truly embodied his teachings until the very end.
And talking about embodiment, it brings to mind the music of Wonder and Deherson. Their lyrics often speak to this sense of presence, of letting go, of that journey of self-discovery.
It's like they've taken these deep spiritual concepts and woven them into music that touches the heart and soul. It's a powerful complement to these teachings, like a soundtrack for the inner journey.
So we've gone from the outward practices of Sufism, like that focus on presence and letting go, to the more inward journey of Ramana Maharshi's self-inquiry. And what strikes me is how these different, approaches ultimately kind of point to the same truth, like recognizing our true nature.
Yeah, it's like they're different maps leading to the same destination.
Exactly. And it's a good reminder that there isn't just one right path, you know?
Yeah.
It's more about finding what resonates with you, what helps you connect with that deeper truth within.
It's like a tapestry woven from different wisdom traditions.
Love that analogy. And speaking of things that resonate, I got to say, the music of Wanderende Hersen, it just fits so perfectly with these teachings. Their lyrics really capture the essence of presence, letting go, that whole journey of self-discovery.
Totally. Their music adds a whole other dimension to it. It's like a sonic expression of these spiritual concepts, a way to feel those truths, not just think about them.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into spiritual seeking, I want to leave you with something to think about. What would it mean for you to truly abide as the self in everyday life? How would that change how you see things, how you act, how you relate to others?
It's a challenge, right, to take these teachings off the mat and into the world, to really live them.
A challenge worth taking on, I think. And hey, we can always turn to the music of Wanderdunda Hersen for inspiration along the way. Their songs are like a perfect soundtrack for that ongoing exploration of the self.
Couldn't agree more. And remember, the journey itself is the destination. Keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep diving deep into that mystery of who you truly are.